All right, so this is for the boys, this is for the fellas. Do not, I repeat, do not entertain women who are unaccountable and do not know how to take ownership. If she is unaccountable, that means you're going to do a large part of the emotional lifting in this relationship, and it might also come with coercion and manipulation. I'll explain. If someone is unwilling to take account of their actions and how they could have negatively impacted you, you are going to be fighting to maintain a balance between. That means anytime you address something you might need or require out of the relationship, if there's some emotional discrepancy, if your feelings have just been hurt, if this person is not willing to reflect on their actions, they're not going to be able to meet you there or protect your emotional well-being. They're too busy protecting theirs. Oh, it might end up being manipulative. They'll definitely end up overshadowing anything you feel. And they're not able to protect your emotional safety or well-being because they're too busy protecting theirs or ignoring it. And then actually some people are just mean and don't care. And instead of saying they're mean, they'll just ignore everything. Because, people still try to wear a mask and make people think that they're good people. But really at the core of it, it just comes from deflectiveness and defensiveness, and I honestly believe unaccepting of self. And the less ego and self-esteem you have, the less room and space you have to take accountability and ownership, because you're too busy propping yourself up behind as much ego or bravado as you can muster, and any sign of weakness or fault will make all of that crumble and fall away. So as I get older, I understand it's not always a purposeful thing, and it doesn't always have anything to do with you or the person on the receiving end. It's really just about the emotional depth and maturity of the other person. And so if you are someone who's able to say you did something wrong or you could do something better, or you're sorry or you apologize, and you reflect on how the things you do and say affect someone else emotionally, do not get involved with someone who is unwilling to take ownership and accountability of their actions. Because even if they don't directly cause infliction to you, at least for me, from my own personal experience, just the mindset and actions and behaviors are really unattractive. And I've lost attraction for people just seeing the way that they move. And you'll save yourself the time of doing mental gymnastics, trying to figure out where the disconnect is between like what you're saying and how they're receiving it or how they're responding to it. Because all you're saying is, I didn't like something, or this hurt my feelings. And then you're just being told that you need to take ownership over your feelings and how you felt. And it's like, but you're the one who treated me that way, so that's why I felt like that. And then again, they're going to say something about you readjusting how you look at the situation or think about it, or they're going to justify their actions and tell you why they did it and behave that way, which to some extent might, for me, that might make me understand. But if you're still not able to say either I shouldn't have done that, I could have done something different, or I could have handled that better, yeah, no. Because just because you took ownership doesn't mean you're going to be accountable for making a different outcome next time. I was like, yeah, I punched you in the face. Yeah, I know you didn't like it. And now here we are. That's ownership. Accountability is saying, maybe I shouldn't have punched you in the face. Or next time I'm going to find a better plan of action. Or I'll think about, at least think. For me, I need you to at least say, I'll think about it. I'll try to, or I'll think about it. I know no one's perfect. I know people don't change overnight. And I know some changes will never happen. But for me to feel better, you got to tell me at least gonna try. And so, yeah, if you're dealing with someone who's unaccountable and unable to take ownership, and you're like me and willing to say, I fucked up, my bad, run now. Save yourself the time, the headache, and trying to understand the mental gymnastics. You don't want it. You'll be more stressed out about why they don't see where you're coming from and what you're saying in the situation than you were about the actual situation. Like, the situation could be minuscule, but the reaction is so big where you're like, bro, all I did was say I didn't like when you did that, or I didn't like when you said that. But what you're telling that person is that they did something wrong. And if they don't have the self-esteem and ego enough to support being able to correct their actions, i.e., they either think they're perfect or they feel like they're never perfect, so anytime someone points it out, they feel like their imperfections are magnified, you're just gonna have a hard time, because the depth to be able to say I'm sorry and I'll do it different or I'll do it better is just gonna be hard for them to do. And so in order to maintain and salvage relationships, you're gonna have to do the heavy lifting for two and give the benefit of the doubt a lot of the time. And that's why I'd say with like a manipulative person or just like a mean person, you might not even really realize that they're really just a mean person, because you think they just lack emotional depth and maturity to be able to be accountable. No, they know what they did and they don't like the fact you're calling it out. So they're going to put it on you and make you deal with it, because they're not going to change their behavior or the way that they do things. So get over it. Yeah, nah, that doesn't work for me. I'm just gonna skedaddle. I don't deal with people who don't take ownership and accountability, and that even counts for dudes, homies. If you cannot say you shouldn't have done that to that person, or you shouldn't have spent that money, like if you cannot say you didn't take the best like road or plan or way of action, that lets me know that your pathway to growth is going to be hindered, regardless of what that is, intellectually, financially, relationally. Like I'm all about growth and moving forward. And if we're not both moving forward at a similar rate, or at least aspiring to, I don't have the time for it. Ciao.